tragic. Demons appear like magic. Money long so elastic. Foreign fabrics to fashion.
I'm itching for money, cash addict. Secure drawn in my pockets like Titanic. When I get on the beat, it's Jurassic. Little niggas don't want static.
Wavy come like tsunami and drown you with the drip.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Coos Ballroom. Today, we're going to be talking about the Detroit Lions. Like I told you guys in my first episode, this is going to be a majority Detroit sports talk podcast. If anything happens like in the NFL that's big with another team, or the NBA that's big with another team, obviously, I'll probably have an episode talking about that. But majority, this is going to be a Detroit sports podcast. And today we're going to be talking about the Detroit Lions. And luckily, I have a special guest with me. Most of you guys probably will already know who he is. It's Tony Dombrowski. You can see him on Twitter at Tony Dombrowski. Tony, how are you doing today?
Cool. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me on today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We were just talking about it before we started recording, but I've done a lot of collaborations with other Pistons Twitter, big names with Nick, Duncan, Rod, James. I think Tony is the only one I've yet to do one with, so it's going to be real fun to finally get to talk with Tony here.
We are making history here, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think I was supposed to. I don't know if you were going to be there, but Eli, you remember last summer where Eli set up that basketball thing in Oakland? I believe you go to Oakland with him, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping I'd see you there, but Eli wasn't even there. So I mean, I guess Eli just wasn't for it. But
if I remember correctly, I think it was set up on like a Thursday afternoon or something. I had class on Thursday that day, so I wasn't able to go, unfortunately. But I do remember that Eli was pushing me to go. I do remember that.
Yes, it was a lot of fun seeing everybody. So hopefully we can do something like that when this whole COVID thing eventually goes away.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get something done with that. But let's go ahead and talk about the Lions here. So we're going to open this up talking about the Lions win, obviously, over the Falcons. Todd Gurley, what are you doing? He scores a touchdown, gives Matthew Stafford a chance, and like a lot of Detroit Lions fans know, all Stafford needs is a chance. Tony, let me know, what was your reaction? Actually, you don't need to let us know the reaction. If anyone wants to see Tony's reaction, I'm quite sure he made an inspirational video right after. But go ahead and tell us what you were thinking when Todd Gurley scored. What's your thoughts from the overall game, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, first of all, when Gurley scored that touchdown, I was kind of like Jamie Collins in a way, where I was like, oh, he scored the touchdown, like the ball across the plane. That is absolutely a touchdown. And, I checked how much time was on the clock, and I'm like, oh, that is so much time for Matthew Stafford to drive down the field and get that game-winning drive. But, yeah, my overall reaction to the game was that, that's what Stafford does best. That's why I was so excited after the win, and that's why I'm still excited about the win today, is because of how Stafford was able to lead that comeback. Because, Coop, I know you. I see you defending Matthew Stafford on Twitter along with me. I mean, a lot of people have been telling us that Stafford is the problem with this football team, that we need to get rid of him and all this nonsense. And just to see him lead that game-winning drive, have some big-time throws, in particular the one to Kenny Golladay before the Hockenson touchdown was a monster throw from him. Just to see Stafford lead the team down for that game-winning drive, it was vintage Matthew Stafford, and if you saw my post-game video, you will know it made me very, very excited. And, another reason why I was so excited was because, they are now 3-3. I mentioned in my video to put aside everything that has happened so far, the bad loss to Chicago and Green Bay and New Orleans, and just focus on what is happening right now with this team. Because even for a critic like me, they are at 500 right now. We're going to talk about the remaining schedule later on in this episode, but they got a big game coming up on Sunday against the Colts. But after that, it's another, I don't want to say light and easy, because no game in the NFL is light and easy, but their next two opponents at least have a combined 2 wins, if I remember correctly. So it's going to be a big game for them on Sunday. But to know that this game has some meaning, that is definitely exciting, because we could easily be sitting here at 2-4, and we're calling for everyone to be fired again. But we're not doing that. It's nice to have a little bit of excitement going into this game against the Colts on Sunday.
No, yeah, I agree with everything you said, and like you said, I'm constantly defending Stafford. I think honestly, I think, honestly, the Stafford hate has dwindled down over the years since Calvin retired. I honestly think that he's gotten more respect over the years, and it honestly is nice to see. But you still have those in Detroit who just blame Stafford for literally just about everything. So it definitely was fun to see him do that. And I agree. I think one of my big takeaways from it was, well, obviously, once Stafford got the ball back, I knew what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Every time Stafford gets the ball in those situations, I expect him to do it. Now, does he do it every time? No, you can't do it every time. You're not perfect. But literally every time he gets put in those situations, I expect him to go down and score. So it wasn't shocking to me. But like you said, the throws that he made on that drive were spectacular. And then people don't talk about this as much. This is what really got me like going crazy about it was in the pocket on the final play of the game. He rolled to his left, and before he even rolled to his left to create an opening, he pump faked twice to get not only the defenders like the line up in the air, but like you could see that like because they were playing zone. The Falcons were playing zone, and once he pump faked the second time, that I think it was the middle linebacker. I'm not sure, but the middle linebacker kind of like got back on his heels and let Hawkinson go right behind him, sneak behind him because of the pump fake. So it's like multiple plays that Stafford made that was just like, dude's crazy. He's just really good. But I'll say that another takeaway I took from that game that it was really good to see is the second straight week of a pretty good defensive performance from that defense. So the Jaguars, obviously not many think of them as a really good team, but I think it was Jeremy, I forget his last name, one of the, I think it's on the Lion, I forget what it's called.
He's a Detroit?
Yes, that one. He pointed out that the Jaguars' offense actually had been pretty decent, pretty good going into that game, and the Lions did a really good job at like halting that. And then going into this game, obviously Atlanta has weapons all over the place. Offense definitely hasn't been the reason why they've struggled the past few years since the Super Bowl. Yeah. And the Lions came in and really just played, I mean, outside the final drive and maybe final two drives, played really good. And they forced a turnover on Matt Ryan, got that strip sack. And I think that the defense, along with that Matthew Stafford final drive, was really good takeaway from that game. So, honestly, I'm really happy with this team for that win. Like you said, we're at 500. So that's always one of the things I hate, and it's happened multiple seasons with the Lions, is that your season, basically we wait all these months for football, and then basically our season ends after 2 weeks. So we waited like multiple months just to get like 2 weeks of football. That's like the thing I hate the most. So the fact that we're back at 500, at least thank you. That gives like us a reason to keep watching and have hope for this team moving forward. But the win over the Falcons, really good win. I really like the win. Obviously, Todd Gurley, you got to fall down. He gave us that chance. But still, the offense has to make something with it. And with no timeouts, that was really hard to do. And we were able to do it, which gives the Lions credit on offense. And once again, the Lions defense played pretty well throughout the majority of that game. So I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say about the game specifically?
If I can add something really quickly about that Todd Gurley touchdown, the second one. If you remember back in 2018 when Gurley was on the Rams and they came to Detroit, he had a very similar play. But instead, if you remember, he clearly avoided the end zone, and he did not score on that run.
Yep, I remember that.
Back in the Rams game. But a few years later, he said the momentum carried him in, but hey, it helped the Lions get the win. I'm not going to complain about that at all. But, I mean, you did mention the defense. That is a very good point. The defense has been playing really, really well over these last 2 weeks. And, Jacksonville, it's kind of an outlier because it looks like they are back in the tank for Trevor sweepstakes. But that Atlanta game, you mentioned, there's a ton of playmakers on that Atlanta offense. And the Lions defense did a very, very good job to mostly contain them. Outside the second quarter, the Lions defense, they almost pitched a shutout throughout the other three quarters. The first quarter and the third quarter were shutouts, and the fourth quarter, that Gurley touchdown was their only score, if I remember correctly. So, for as bad as the Lions defense was to start the year, and as bad as the defense has looked since Patricia's gotten here, you do have to give credit when they play well, and they have played very, very well over these last 2 weeks.
No, I agree. I'm not the biggest fan of Matt Patricia. I don't think you are as well.
No.
I don't think many people are, honestly. But like you said, when credit is due, you give credit where it's due. And the defense has definitely played better over the last 2 weeks, especially against the Falcons. And we got people getting healthy. We got Coleman on the way back soon, Trufant hopefully. And then a good way to shift into this next topic is now we also have Everson Griffen on the way. Lions make a trade for Everson Griffen with the Cowboys. I believe it was a conditional 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
What do you think about that trade, Tony?
So, first of all, let me say this. I mean, Everson Griffen is not going to come here and be the guy that he once was, sacking us left and right when he was in a Minnesota uniform. But I do think that is a good trade for the Lions because, while the defense has been playing very well over these last 2 weeks, pass rush is still an issue for them. They have, I think, 8 total sacks on the season right now. That's not particularly good through six games. So, adding to that pass rush is absolutely going to help this team going forward to try and make a run. And again, while Everson Griffen might not be that player he once was, I mentioned in my video yesterday when the trade happened, he's still going to come here and help you. He's got 2.5 sacks this year with the Cowboys, even though he wasn't playing that much with Dallas. 6 quarterback hits, if I remember correctly, 20 total tackles on the year. Again, he's not the same player that he once was, but this is someone who is absolutely going to help you try to win some games here.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that. I actually will take it a step further. I forget, I really need to remember these Detroit Lions riders' names. But one of them tweeted this, and I think this hits the nail in the coffin and really gives you an idea of how bad the Lions pass rush is, first of all, and second of all, how much he's still going to help at where he is in his career right now. I believe they tweeted out that Everson Griffen has 18 quarterback pressures on the year right now. That's more than anybody on the Lions besides, I think they said, Deshaun Hand.
I didn't know that. That is that does not surprise me, but that also does surprise me a little bit.
Yeah, so it may not have been Deshaun Hand, but it was I think it was Deshaun Hand. But either way, it was more. He has more quarterback pressures than anyone but one Lions pass rusher right now. Actually, it might have been Aquara. That I think about it. It might have been Aquara he was talking about. But either way,
who has been playing very well this season.
Yes,
too.
he has. Very well. Very well. But the point is that even at where Griffen is right now in his career, he's still better than almost anybody on the Lions pass rush right now at getting to the quarterback, and that in and of itself will help the Lions defense. So I think it's a really good trade. They didn't give up much for him, a conditional 6th-round pick, not much. Yeah. Obviously, this means, or at least shows, that the front office and Matt Patricia too want to win. They're trying to win. They know that their jobs are on the line, and they're going to make. This is the first move they've made to try to win. I wouldn't be shocked if they make another one. But this is the first move they've made to try to help the defense and get in a position to win. I'm sure they see the upcoming schedule and see, here's our chance. We can pounce on this. And with the offense playing how it's playing and the defense improving, Everson Griffen should definitely help this team. And I also very much love how he seems to be all about coming over here and has a chip on his shoulder. So that's always fun to see because everyone in Detroit has that Detroit versus everybody attitude. So to see him just immediately buy into that kind of attitude automatically will make him a fan favorite, I think.
And again, you did mention that it seems like he is kind of excited to come here. You leave a situation in Dallas where they are obviously a trash fire right now, and you come here, and again, it's a 500 team in the middle of a wild card race. And his first game is going to be not this week against the Colts because of the COVID protocols and everything, but his first game is going to be in Minnesota in 2 weeks. I think that had a lot to play with his excitement to want to come here, that chance to be able to face Minnesota twice this season. I don't know. That's just kind of speculation on my part, but that is something that I think he might be very excited to come here and join.
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that very much had to do with it. Go against your former team. I'm sure he's very excited to start laying some hits on them. I'm happy that he's no longer in his prime with them laying hits on Stafford. I believe Justin Rogers was the one who tweeted out that last time Stafford went against Griffen in a Vikings uniform, he had X-rays after. He had 2 separate X-rays after the game. Yeah. So he used to lay the boom on Stafford. Hopefully he lays the boom on our opponents the rest of the year. So is there anything else you want to comment with Everson Griffen?
I mean, like we already mentioned, I mean, this is a trade that it's going to help this team. He's really going to come here and help this pass rush because now you have Everson Griffen, who's going to be a nice veteran presence, along with Trey Flowers and Romeo Okora, who we kind of briefly touched on a few seconds ago, but he is playing very well this year. I believe he had 2 sacks in the Falcons game. He's been outstanding this year, and if he can keep it going, and Everson Griffen can come here and do his thing, and Trey does his thing, he's been playing very well these last 2 weeks as well, then maybe we can see the defense continue the play that they've had throughout the last 2 weeks. I do also want to quickly bring up the fact that you mentioned a few minutes ago that they might not be done making trades. It was TJ Lang. I don't know if you saw him tweet this yesterday, but he mentioned how he also doesn't think that the Lions are done. Now, TJ, he's not some front office insider, but that is a former player, so maybe he knows something, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But I do think it is interesting to see a guy like TJ Lang be like, yeah, I don't think they're done. So I thought that point that you brought up was very interesting to connect with what TJ Lang tweeted the other day as well.
No, yeah, and to respond about what you said earlier with the defense, they're also getting healthy, so we could be getting some corners back coming soon.
Yeah.
So with getting Griffen, along with getting healthier, because people forget. I mean, obviously that Chicago Bears loss is very bad, and we should have won the Lions should have won the game either way.
Yeah.
And obviously they do win if DeAndre Swift catches the ball in the end zone, which is definitely will be something that hurts the Lions the rest of the season. That loss, but the Lions were really clamping down Mr. Trubisky before their secondary basically died. Yeah. Like Mr. Trubisky wasn't doing anything until I'm pretty sure we had 2 corners left, back there. That's it was getting bad. So we've been without the corners. Now we got Griffen on the way. The corners are getting healthier. Defense is getting healthier in general. So this is going to be a fun team to watch, I think, moving forward, or at least have some reasons to watch them. And then, secondly, with the moves, I'm not sure if it's still like this, but don't the Lions have a ton of cap space still?
Well, yeah, I think they're top 10 in cap right now.
Yeah, so they've been holding on to that cap space for a minute. I know they had it in the offseason. I know I've read something in the offseason that said that they I don't know if this was just speculation or if it was insider information, but the Lions have been holding on to that for to make a move. They've been waiting to make a move with that cap space. I'm not sure, like I said, if that was just speculation where I read it. But either way, they have themselves positioned to be able, if they wanted to put themselves and get a move like that maybe if they need to have money that other teams don't have, they can make the trade and still have money for whatever player if they need to be paid or on a bigger contract, etc. like that. So yeah. I don't think that they're done. And honestly, to be honest, I hope that they're not done because as much as we've seen this team struggle on defense, I really do believe in this offense. And I think that the defense has shown improvements I think the defense has pieces. I'll say this. Over the past 2 weeks, we've seen more creativity from that defense than we have in 3 years with Matt Patricia.
Yeah.
We've seen more blitzes. We've seen more zone. We've seen more zone blitzes, man blitzes, stunts. We've seen all kinds of new stuff the past 2 weeks than we've seen in 3 years with Matt Patricia. And the announcers were talking about it. I know the Lions writers have been talking about it. So I think they're hitting their stride right now and getting hot at a perfect time where their schedule gets weak. So if there's any – go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to go to the next topic. If you have something else you want to say, go ahead.
I was just going to bounce off that point and say that if they are going to get hot here, that's good because you mentioned that this is the weaker part of their schedule. We'll talk about the schedule in a little bit here, but, 3 of their last 4 games include matchups in 3 straight games against, if I remember correctly, Green Bay, Tennessee, and Tampa Bay in some order. And those are obviously 3 of the top teams in the entire league. So if you really do want to make a run at this wild card, you have to win the games that you're supposed to in this, quote unquote, easy stretch of your schedule. And if the Lions want to make some moves to try and help that, I'm not going to complain at all because as we kind of mentioned to start this episode, it's good that, it doesn't feel like the season is over right now.
Yeah.
The fact that we're going into November with a little bit of hope with this Lions team. It's definitely different than it has been throughout the past few years, that's for sure.
Yeah, so we can start talking about that schedule now. So the Lions' next 5 games are against the Indianapolis Colts, Minnesota Vikings, the Washington Football Team, Carolina Panthers, and the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
All of those teams are, outside of the Panthers, I guess, none of these teams are like really that good. I guess the Colts are okay, but like none of these teams are like teams you think that the Lions should, one, be like tremendous underdogs, and a lot of these games I honestly think you probably have the Lions favorites. What do you think about these next 5 games? Do you see an opportunity for the Lions to pounce here? What do you think is the likelihood that they could pounce here? Like, do you think the fans should be excited about this? What do you think about all of it?
Oh yeah. I think the fans should absolutely be excited. This game against the Colts on Sunday. I mentioned earlier that I think it is a huge game. The Colts and the Lions, I think, are 2 very similar teams. The Lions throughout their 2-game win streak have dominated the line of scrimmage, whether it's been on the offensive side of the ball or defensively. The Colts are the exact same way. Like, especially defensively, I think the Colts, honestly, have a top 5 defensive football when Darius Leonard is healthy. I've watched a few of their games throughout the early parts of the season, and I do think that is one of the top defenses in football, again, when Darius Leonard is healthy, because he's been out for the last couple of weeks. And, of course, the Colts obviously also dominate the offensive line of scrimmage with that beastly offensive line. But at the same time, they are beatable because they have dinosaur Phillip Rivers at quarterback. So, but regardless, though, that's a 4-2 football team coming into your backyard. That is a big game because if you can win that game, after that, like you mentioned, it's at Minnesota versus Washington, who, again, combined 2 wins. And then you go to Carolina. Carolina's kind of a scrappy team. I'm not really sure about that game, especially if Christian McCaffrey is back from injury. I think that could honestly be a sneaky loss. I don't know. Matt Rule's got that team playing very well right now, even though I think they are a game below 500. And then Thanksgiving against the Texans. The Texans are terrible. They're probably going to sell at the deadline. Even with Deshaun Watson, though he scares me a little bit because he's obviously Deshaun Watson. Again, that should be a winnable game for the Lions. But no, I don't think it's crazy for the fan base to be a little excited right now because, again, even if you don't win that game against the Colts on Sunday, I still think you beat Minnesota and Washington, so that's 5-4. Carolina, let's say that's a sneaky loss, like I think it could be. If you beat Houston after that Thanksgiving, you're still a game above 500 going into December. So that would be huge because if you remember, ownership said when they brought back Patricia and Quinn, we want to play meaningful games in December. Well, with this schedule, if you play your cards right, you could be playing meaningful games in December. So, no, I don't think it's crazy at all for the fan base to be a little bit excited right now.
Yeah, and also I agree with you. I think that the fan base has every reason to be excited about this. I think I have every reason to be excited about this as well, along with the fan base. I agree with everything you said. And the one thing I will say about this upcoming schedule is that the Lions right now, with their schedule heading into the final 5 weeks, I do believe that they probably will, if they actually want to make the playoffs, because I believe right now, didn't they say there's 5-win teams in the NFC right now?
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have the exact standings in front of me, but I do know that there are a lot of good teams in the NFC.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they – actually, I could look it up right now real quick, but I'm pretty sure there's 5-win teams in the NFC right now. And, yeah, so we got hold on.
I'm looking it up right now. So we got the Packers, the Bears, the Bucks, Seahawks and Cardinals, and Rams. Oh, God.
So we have 6.
Yeah, we have 6.
Yeah, so we have 6 5-win teams right now. And then behind the 6-win teams – the 6 5-win teams, we got 49ers at 4 wins, the Saints at 4 wins.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously the NFC East has to have at least one person come out of that division, even though how bad, though how awful they are.
Yeah.
So I think that if the Lions do want to actually make the playoffs, I think they probably would have to go 4-1 in that stretch of these next 5 games. I think 3-2. If they go 3-2 in this stretch, this is the thing. I do think that this is a favorable stretch, obviously, for the Lions. I think they should win a lot of these games. But if they lose, like let's say they lose to the Panthers or they lose to the Colts, they may end up going 3-2 during the stretch. But if they can't beat those teams, what makes you think that they could beat the Packers or the Bucks in their final 5 weeks? So in order for them, basically what I'm saying is like in order for them to make the playoffs, they have to hit like a really hot streak at some point because there's so many. Either that or teams in the NFC are just going to have to falter because there's literally like there's so many teams in the NFC right now playing insane. Yeah. And luckily for the Lions, there is that extra wild card spot now this year. But like I said, it basically doesn't even matter now because one team has to come from the NFC East. Yeah. And then the NFC West is damn near trying to make it to where all 4 teams come out of there. Yeah. So it's like they have to. I think they have to go 4-1 these next 5 games. But either way, I think, like you said, it's an exciting stretch and gives Lions fans a reason to watch the Lions football and things to look forward to because the next 5 games are all winnable. And it's going to be fun to watch them see how the Lions perform and what happens at the end of this 5-week stretch. Also, I'll even throw in the Bears game there because I tweeted this out the other day. I think the Bears might be the worst 5-1 team one of the worst 5-1 teams I've ever seen. Yeah. They literally should not. There's no way if their opponents just aren't like if they don't just falter to themselves, they just shouldn't have 5 wins. I have Bears friends. And they get up all like mad when I say this crap, but like so like for the Lions should have won that game if DeAndre Swift simply just catches a wide open touchdown. Yeah. So that's one right there, and then you got the Falcons game. Like, come on, so we have those 2 right off the top that should have you at like 3 at what is it 3-4 at least.
Yeah, the Bears have gotten very lucky throughout the first few weeks of the season. Yes. And, I mean, on Monday Night Football, they went to L.A. and got smacked by the Rams. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe that's who the Bears really are. I don't know.
I know, yeah. I don't think the Bears are a good team at all. I'll just come out and say it. I don't think they're that good of a team. I think their defense is great, obviously.
Yeah.
I think their offense is so bad. And just overall, if you just put both of them together, they're just not a very good team. So even when the Lions – and you have to think that the Lions roster has to be feeling like
the game got robbed from us.
Yes. Yeah, so when they go against them again, you have to think they think, yeah, this team just shouldn't even be on the field with us. Like, we should have won the first game. And now in the second game, we're going to make sure that they don't win this game. Like, you have to think they allow them to feel that way.
My only concern about the Bears game is that it's on the road. You know, it's going to be December in Chicago. It's going to be cold and windy and maybe snowy. That's my only concern with that Bears game. But I do like your point that you think that this team has to go 4-1 in this next stretch. I do agree with you because while you were talking, I was kind of, going through my head like, okay, I think this is a win, that's a loss, and so on and so forth. If they don't go 4-1 in that stretch, and let's say they do have a sneaky loss in there, even if it isn't to Carolina, and they go like 3-2 in that stretch, that can absolutely be the difference from a 9-7 team to 8-8 and probably out of the playoffs, So, again, it is very important for them to win these games that they should, because I brought up earlier, they do have a stretch, week 14 through 16, where they are facing the 3 best teams in football, or 3 of the best teams in football, versus Green Bay, at Tennessee, versus Tampa. That is brutal. That is a brutal 3-game stretch. And the Lions' benefit there is that they got 2 of those games at home. So, listen, if they're playing with a little bit of confidence and they're going into that stretch above 500, I would be happy. But they at least have to be a game above 500 going into that stretch, because that can easily be 3 straight losses. So
yeah, I agree with you. And I'll make this last point about it. I say this to my friends all the time. We actually got into an argument about this. I'll say this again for all the fans out there. And Tony, if you disagree with me, you can come back at me too. But I'll say this. I don't like – one of the things I don't like when fans do, or people who are looking at, like, can this team make the playoffs? Can this team do that? Honestly, I know I did it just now, but I really don't like when people are like, well, look at this team over there in that division. Look at this team over there in that division. Mm-hmm. All the Lions can control is the teams in front of them. If the Lions simply handle their business, they'll be fine. It doesn't because let's say the Lions go 4-1 during the stretch, maybe even 5-0, 4-1. They're setting themselves up in good position to be in the playoffs. There's nothing else they can control, and there's no way. I mean, maybe this may be the first time in history I don't think this is like something like this has ever happened. But maybe they do end up having 10-6 teams somehow out of the NFC.
Yeah.
Like somehow maybe that happens. Then it is what it is. But that's most likely very likely not going to happen. One of these teams are going to start losing, especially a team like the Bears are going to start losing.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals and the Rams and the Seahawks are going to beat up on each other. One of them have to start losing. So it's really just all about the Lions need to just focus on who's in front of them. If they handle their business, they'll set themselves up good for the playoff positioning. And the last thing I'll say about it is, like you mentioned, those 3 weeks are going to be absolute hell for the Lions.
Yeah.
But if they're playing, the thing is, this is why I say all the time, if the Lions do make the playoffs, and go 4-1 during the stretch, it will have to only mean, the only reason why they're doing this is because they're a good team. They would have to be a good team and have to be playing their best football at that time. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be in the playoff race. So the hope would be for me is that my hope would be they go 4-1 during this stretch. Maybe they beat the Bears to make it 5-1 stretch, or maybe 4-2. They go 4-2 heading to the Packers game. Their defense has improved because I don't see them going 4-2 unless they're playing well. Like I said, hopefully they're going into these games playing well, thinking they can beat these guys, and then anything can happen at the end.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you. I do agree with your point that, you just have to worry about the teams on your schedule. Like, I remember when, after the Jacksonville game, when people were excited after that win, and, there's some people that are like, oh, but, it's Jacksonville. Yes, but the Lions didn't pick their schedule, Yeah. So they play the schedule that the NFL gives them. So I absolutely agree with your point there.
Yeah, and just to say something about that right before we go into this last topic, it's crazy. I hate it when people say I really do hate that, because it's like if the Lions were to lose that game, then it would be, oh, you can't even beat the teams you have to beat, blah blah. But then when you win the games that you're supposed to win, it's, oh, well, it's only those guys. That's what makes the good teams in the NFL. The good teams in the NFL beat the teams everyone acts like for example, let's say the Buccaneers or the Chiefs or anything. Do people think they go 5-0 against the great teams? No, they have the record they have and the seeds they have because they probably go about 500 against the great teams, maybe just above 500, and then beat almost every team they're supposed to beat. That's what happened. That's how good teams do their things. So it really just gets on my nerves when people say that, because if the Lions were to lose to the Jaguars, it would be, oh, the Lions, how'd you lose to the Jaguars? You guys suck, blah, blah. But then, and then we have people, the same fans will complain that, oh, you can't beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And then when they do beat the teams they're supposed to beat, it's, oh, well, you're supposed to beat them, blah, blah. I just, it really gets under my skin.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
But, okay, so going into the final topic that we're going to be talking about, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about it, maybe not as much as I think they should be talked about, but we're going to touch on it here. The RB situation. Obviously, the Lions have Kerryon, they got AP, and they got DeAndre Swift. They wasted a second-round pick on Swift and Kerryon. Wait, Kerryon was second round, yeah?
Yeah, he was second round.
Yeah. So Kerryon and DeAndre are second-round picks, and now you got AP here. When the Lions signed AP, I was happy because I'm an AP fan. I always have liked AP. And AP he's been okay for us. I think he's served his role somewhat for us. He's done what you reasonably could have expected from him.
Yeah.
What I will say is that while he's doing what you expected of him, our offensive coordinator is not doing what we expected of him. And it's like the thing with me, and I know the past times I've let Tony go first, but I just want to go first.
Well, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, because this has really been getting on my nerves. I was judging whether to make this a YouTube video or this podcast, but I thought it would be way better with Tony here. So I'll say this. I can't stand what Darren Bevel is doing with the RB rotation. I think it's absolutely idiocy. I don't see why he's doing it. This is the thing. And it goes even deeper past the RB rotation. It goes even to TJ Hawkinson. And I have friends from different states of different teams that say the same thing. Like the Lions, when they get these top picks, they don't treat these players like top picks. Like when you get these talented players, The Lions don't treat these players like talented players. Like, for example, look at the Saints with Alvin Kamara. As soon as they knew what they had with Alvin Kamara, there was no, we're taking them along easy. We have AP and Ingram. We're still going to give them the ball. No, they got rid of AP instantly, and Alvin Kamara was given like the majority of the touches instantly, and he's a star. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like a CMC. Same thing with Saquon. Same thing with Zeke or like Gronk or all these guys. Like when you have a super talented guy, especially a top pick you wasted on the guy, treat them like they're a top pick. Mm-hmm. It goes back, and like I said, even goes to TJ Hockenson because I feel like we barely target him. And it's not even like he's because he's not good. I think TJ Hawkinson's really good. I think he has a chance to be like an elite tight end. I just feel like the Lions don't target him enough. Like if you wasted an 8th pick on TJ Hockenson, and you're not treating him like it. Like he should be like one of your top receivers, if not the top, especially with Kenny Galladay being out for as long as he was. TJ Hockenson should have been like getting drawn up plays. I was watching Dan Orlovsky and a couple other former players and analysts a few days ago, and they mentioned this, and I really wish the Lions had this. And I've drifted a little bit away from the RB topic, but it's just really it's bigger than the RB rotation. But they were mentioning on the show that like a specific player, it was Odell actually what they were saying. It was Odell, and I remember it was Keyshawn Johnson who said this. He said that when he used to play, and they played against and his own team, when they had like a special target or a special player on their team, there was So for example, like Calvin would open up plays for other players because teams would double team him, teams would triple team him, try to take him out the game. So some plays, yes, that's what would happen. You would create plays for other players. But they said at the bottom of each at the bottom of each playbook, their offensive coordinator would always have 10 plays that would say, get this player the ball. No matter what the coverage is, they would throw a screen route to him. They would throw like a quick slant. It would be 10 plays at the bottom of their playbook that would say, this is designed to get our playmaker the ball. I swear to God, I don't care if a team like took a picture of Darren Bevel's playbook. I would say it's not his playbook because I refuse to believe that he has that at the bottom of his playbook. The Lions make no effort, and you can tell me if you disagree when I toss this back to you. But the Lions literally make no effort to get their top talented players. Like I refuse. Like for example, even when we had Golden Tate like 4 screens a game. Because he was a playmaker. When he had the ball in his hands, he was a playmaker. That was one of our best playmakers. So we made it a point of emphasis to get him the ball because he was a playmaker. TJ Hockenson goes games where he has like 3 targets. Yeah. Like it's like it doesn't make sense to me at all. I think he should be one of the highest targeted players on the team because he's that good. He's a really good run blocker and he's really good. I seriously think that TJ Hockenson could be a great tight end if we simply acted like he could be one. And now this is where you get back to the RB rotation. We keep giving AP the ball. We give AP the ball so damn much like he's still in his Vikings days. And if you follow the game, if you watched the game last week, and if you watched games before, even the week beforehand, the Lions, I forget what. Oh my God, I should have had this film right in front of me. There was a drive, I believe it was the 3rd quarter. It started off with DeAndre Swift. The Lions are moving down the field. They're literally carving up the Falcons defense. They're doing everything they want. Swift's getting yards. They're getting Swift the ball in the passing game. They're moving up and down the field. Play action, everything's working. They get down to I think it was the 37 of the Falcons territory. AP comes in. They give him 2 straight rushes. Loss of 1. No gain. And then it's 4th down. We hand it off to him again. He gets destroyed in the backfield. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, why? We don't need to force the ball to AP when you have DeAndre Swift, who I think has very clearly shown he is the best running back in that backfield. Mm-hmm. Like and the crazy thing is to me, and this last thing I'll say, but I'll let you. I know I've rambled for too long.
Please keep on going. I'm enjoying it.
The thing that just pisses me off the most about it is that everyone knows football. Running backs flame out early most of the time. You usually use them up, and they usually have short primes. The great ones can keep the great prime going for a while. But a lot of the time, RBs their primes are short, and you use them. The Lions are just acting like this is like Sekou Doumbouya with the Pistons, and they're just, we just got to take him slow. We can't go too far with him. We have to coddle him. No, this dude is a player. He is balling, every time he's on the field, he's balling. Yes, he had that bad catch in the first week, which I was critical of because it was a bad play, obviously. But
Yeah.
He's literally the best back in the backfield. I understand needing to get AP the ball sometimes. And like I said, AP hasn't been terrible. He served his role. But Darren Bevel has not shown his role. He's not done his role. Because you're supposed to be putting the best players on the field and getting your playmakers the ball. So basically what I've said during this little ramble, give DeAndre Swift the ball and let him play over AP. Like, I'm tired of seeing AP start the game. I'm tired of seeing AP kill drives because we feel like we have to. And also, lastly, everybody knows when AP, after you're having a great drive and everybody else in the game, everyone's unpredictable. When you bring AP in, everybody knows that run's coming. Here it comes. Because no one thinks that you're throwing a screen route to AP. And most of the time, we don't play action with AP. Because he's not a very good pass blocker either. It's not like he's a great pass blocker. That's carry on. Mm-hmm. So like, it's so predictable when you just bring him in the game after a great drive starting. And it's just 2 straight runs. Run. And it's just, oh my God, I can't. So please, Darren Bevel, play DeAndre Swift and treat him like the star he is. And last thing, please treat TJ Hawkinson like he is. Treat these top picks, your top playmakers, like they're playmakers, like they're top picks. If this is how the Lions were going to treat these players, why didn't we get a defensive line with TJ Hawkinson's pick? Why wouldn't he pick something else? We don't even treat Hawk like he's an 8th pick. I don't get it. It literally makes me so mad because it's not like his Eric Ebron where he's dropping passes, so it's just like, damn. I mean, we're trying and you're just dropping passes, man. There's nothing we can do. Hawkinson's not like getting, at least in my opinion, he's not getting the love he should be getting from the target standpoint or the play call standpoint. Like I've seen us throw screen routes to TJ Hawkinson. I've seen us throw like 1 or 2 over the past 2 seasons. Throw some more. Those are unpredictable plays. No one expects you to throw a screen out to your tight end. Like get creative. Get your playmakers the ball. You can go, Tony. I'm sorry I ranted for so long.
How are you feeling after that? You feeling good?
I'm feeling a little bit better, but it really gets me heated. It's one of those topics that just oh my God.
It's good to vent once in a while. Trust me, it's good to vent once in a while. No, listen, I absolutely agree with everything you said. I mean, especially last season with TJ Hawkinson, and then we'll get into the running back situation here. Last year we obviously took Hawk 8 overall, and then we signed Jesse James to that fat contract, and last year, we really didn't see that much of Hawk and especially Jesse James. And that was one of the things that I was very critical of. I thought Darrell Bevel did a good job with his offense last year, even after Stafford got hurt. But one of my biggest gripes, if you will, was that, I agree with you. I think Hawkinson has a ton of potential. And last year, they just didn't use him, and they didn't use the tight end that they gave that massive contract to. Now, this year, I will give Bevel some credit because they are using Hawkinson a lot more compared to last year. Hawkinson, the stats aren't in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he's caught a touchdown in 3 straight games now. He's been good for this football team. He's been very, very good for this offense. And even Jesse James has been getting involved in the offense a little bit, which has been very nice to see as well. But as for the running back situation, I absolutely agree with you. I tweeted back week 3 against Arizona that I wanted to see more DeAndre Swift and less AP. And, the thing that most people are telling me is, no, you got to ride with a hot hand in AP. And I was like, screw that. Like, AP's been doing well for us, but I want to see DeAndre Swift. We took him in the 2nd round. Let's use him. And throughout these past 2 weeks, we have used him a lot more. And he's been playing very, very well. So, hopefully we can see more DeAndre in the lineup going forward. I don't want to say I hope we see less AP because he has been good for us, but I like the point that you brought up that's a little bit predictable when we see AP running out there on the field because 9 times out of 10 is going to be a run up the middle. And in particular in that Atlanta game, the 3rd and short, 4th and short, halfback, Madden dive up the middle in the red zone too. It was just insane play calling. And if the Lions ended up losing that game on Sunday, I would be hammering Darrell Bevel and the offensive play calling more than I already have. But, I mean, listen, man, not to shift the conversation over to Darrell Bevel, but, his play calling has been a little suspicious to me all season long. I mean, even dating back to week 1, there's been some times where I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like this call or that call. All season long, it seems like the play calling has been a little bit more suspicious than it was last year. But hey, man, if they're winning football games, I'm not going to complain too much about what they're doing. But at the same time, Koo, I absolutely agree with you. I want to see more DeAndre Swift because that was a guy who I really liked coming out of Georgia. And when we took him in the second round in April, I was very, very excited. So, I enjoyed your rant there. I really did. I was smiling and cracking up with my mic muted while you were doing it. But no, I'm absolutely on par with you there.
I'll say this. I'll take back a little bit of what I was saying about TJ Hockenson because as Tony's talking, I'm reading some stuff about TJ Hockenson. Actually, an article just came out today that says TJ Hockenson is emerging as one of the NFL's top tight ends. And apparently, he leads the Lions in a lot of receiving categories. He leads them in receptions, touchdowns, first downs, and broken tackles. So I'll take it back a little bit, even though I still believe that they should use him even more. Because if you look at his games, right here, he has the first 3 games he goes 5 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, which is fine for 53, 62, 56 yards. Like that's all good. Like that's what we want to see. But then these last few games, you see 2 receptions.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like it should be like a concerted effort to make sure that TJ Hockenson is getting at least 7 to 9 targets per game. Like that's basically my point is that I just feel like the Lions should make a point of emphasis to get their playmakers the ball. Like kind of like how they did it with Marvin Hall last year. Like almost every time Marvin Hall came in the game, they knew that's our deep threat right there. We're getting him the ball. Almost every time it was like a 40-yard play when he came in the game because they utilized him as their playmaker deep. I just wish they utilized Hawk, DeAndre Swift like that more often. And
yeah. And speaking of Marvin, not to interrupt you, another Marvin wide receiver on this football team, Marvin Jones, he hasn't really been getting a lot of shine much this season. And Dave Burkett of the Free Press wrote an article about it, mentioning how Marvin Jones said straight up, I'm frustrated with my role on this offense right now. And it's funny how that works because after all that comes out this past week against Atlanta, we see more Marvin Jones. He's playing very, very well. Before the Atlanta game, there were a lot of people saying, oh, Marvin's lost a step and he's not the same guy he once was, so on and so forth. But I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I thought Marvin looked like himself on Sunday against Atlanta when you give him the football. So, no, man, I absolutely agree with you. There's a lot of weapons on this offense, and that's the reason why I'm not really that concerned about the offense going forward is because how many weapons we do have on this offense. Now, to quickly mention this as well before I send it back to you, speaking of Marvin Jones, please don't trade him at the trade deadline. Like, the most you're going to get for him if you even do trade him is like a 6th or 7th round pick. Like, what is the point of that? Like, even if you lose to the Colts on Sunday because the trade deadline's on November 3rd, it would be like a 2018 situation when you traded Golden Tate when you were a game below 500. Like, I don't see the point in that. Like, you don't need that 6th or 7th round pick. Like, that's why I was fine trading a 6th for Everson Griffen. It's a 6th round pick. Like, I just, I don't want to go too deep into that, but just don't trade Marvin Jones. Even if you don't think he's the same guy he once was, I still think he's a very, very viable weapon on this offense. Because if you trade him, I mean, you're going to start playing Quintez Cephas again, who has been inactive throughout the past few weeks, even though I do like Cephas. I'd rather have Marvin here with Kenny Galladay and Danny and all of them, but little sidetrack there, but we'll send it back to you.
I mean, no, yeah, I completely agree with you about Marvin. Marvin, I didn't even see that. I didn't see that article that came out that he said he was frustrated.
Yeah. The headline of the article, maybe I can pull it up here very quickly, but something along the lines of he's frustrated with his role in his offense, which, I mean, it's fair because throughout the first few weeks of the season, I was like, we really aren't seeing Marvin Jones, and I'm not particularly sure why, because I think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in football. And, okay, here we go. So again, Dave Burkett of the Free Press. Detroit Lions Marvin Jones finally delivers, quote, no sugarcoating it, it's been frustrating. That was his exact quote. It's been frustrating, not I'm frustrated, but it's still the same message, okay? Like, he's been frustrated with his role in the offense. He should have been, because I still think that he's got a lot left in the tank, even though he's getting a little bit older here, but yeah. And I was going to make this point before I found the Dave Burkett article to help out my point. I guarantee you, if you trade Marvin to a team like Baltimore, who is apparently reportedly interested in him, I promise you, we are going to see 2017, 2018, and at points 2019 Marvin Jones again. Like, I swear, if you just give him the ball, he's going to look like Marvin Jones.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. And he's not even like he just turned 30. Like, he's not. It's not like he's
not a
old.
Dinosaur. Yeah,
he's just turned 30. It's just like I know in football is a little bit different than basketball. That people usually have longer careers in basketball than they do football. But even then, like 30 is not old.
Yeah.
For the wide receiver position, like that's not like, oh God, he hit the 3-0. We gotta move on. Like, that's not what it is. And I completely agree with you about Marvin. I know, I mean, a lot of this stuff doesn't match up with my eye test, to keep it a buck with you. I saw the stat the other day that said that Matthew Stafford has like the third or fourth lowest check down rate. And my eye test tells me that we're not going down the field as much. We may not be checking down, but we're not going down the field as much as we did last year. Yeah. I feel like Stafford took a lot of shots down the field. We had a lot of play calls to go down the field to Marvin, give him chances to jump balls with Kenny, Marvin Hall. Like, I feel like Marvin Jones got a lot more chances last season to make plays down the field, and we haven't done that nearly enough. And I also feel like that overall, we haven't unleashed Stafford. And I know that I've seen a couple Detroit Lions writers say this. They haven't really unleashed Stafford these first few weeks. And I don't know if that has more to do with them wanting to be more balanced. They're tired of like having to be Stafford throwing 40 times. They want to be balanced. They want to establish a run game, which is fine. But it's just like, when you have the receiving targets that we got with Kenny, Marvin, TJ, DeAndre Swift when he's in the game, like this can be an explosive offense when, like, basically what I'm saying is that there's too many times when the Lions like flame out after 3 and out, or they don't move the ball down the field, where I really think that if they just took the route of, we're going to give the ball to our best player and we're going to give the ball to our playmakers. If they just simply did that, I feel like that we would just be such a better offense, instead of feeling like we have to force touches up the middle to AP or like, I don't know. I just feel like that the offensive coordinator is not doing what he did last year with going down the field. And I see why Marvin would be frustrated, because I still think he's a really good player, especially with – I mean, and maybe it hurt without Kenny in the game. Maybe it was harder to scheme Marvin open with Kenny out the game. I don't know. But they should be getting more targets. Him, TJ, Kenny came back and immediately has done his thing. So I mean,
they're 3-1 with Kenny in the lineup. So
yeah.
Maybe it's time to pay him, Koo. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, we're near. You know, I said I didn't want to reach an hour, so we'll end this like real quick. But just let me say something to you guys all listening. The Lions, if they don't pay Kenny Galladay, I promise you, I'll have to find a new team. I won't do it. I can't do it again. I've watched them let Ndamukong Suh walk away after 11-5 playoff berth and just let him walk away. I won't do it again. I won't watch them do it again with Kenny. They already got rid of Golden Tate when I didn't want them to get rid of Golden Tate because they didn't want to pay him. Kenny Galladay, at his age, at the pick you got him, there's no reason why you shouldn't pay him. He's been balling. He's a baller. He needs to be paid. That's
0-2 without Kenny, 3-1 with Kenny. That's all I'll say.
It's about as simple as that. So, is there anything else you want to say, Tony? I think I'm going to stop my ranting now, because if I keep going, I'm going to go for another hour. So,
no, I enjoyed the ranting. I really did. No, I really don't got anything else to say. I mean, as I mentioned already, it's a big game on Sunday against the Colts. It would be fun to see them get that win and then head into this more favorable stretch against Minnesota and Washington, and know that, you know, maybe we have a wild card contender here. That would be very nice for sure.
Yep, same here. I agree with you, man. So once again, thank you for coming on. Me and Tony finally got a collaboration going. I hope everybody enjoys this watching. If you're listening to this and whatever you're listening to, make sure you give me a rating, leave a review, subscribe, and also my YouTube channel is the exact same as my podcast. I'm assuming that's how most of you guys are going to be watching this through my YouTube. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys check out my YouTube and subscribe. It's Coos Ballroom. I'd be coming with the Lions content, Pistons content, overall NBA content. Make sure you guys go check that out. I just hit 600 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, so definitely check that out. And once again, thank you so much for Tony coming on. I know he's a busy guy. He got his own content he has to be taken care of, along with schoolwork and all that going on. So I really appreciate you coming on. If you guys want to check him out, if you guys don't somehow follow him already, which I'm sure most of you guys already do, but if you are not following him for his post-game recaps and reactions to news about the Pistons and Lions, and I believe you cover the Tigers and the Red Wings as well.
Mm-hmm. All these great sports.
Yes, he's much more versatile than I am in those sports. But if you want to see all that with Tony, follow him on Twitter at Tony Dombrowski. Once again, Tony, thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me on, man. This was a lot of fun. Our first of hopefully many times that we'll be doing these discussions. It was a lot of fun, and I will absolutely be back whenever you want me on.
No, yeah. How about this? I'll say this for all the viewers out there. If the Lions make the playoffs, I promise we'll have another one with Tony as a playoff. I promise.
I'm so down for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for listening, everybody. Once again, make sure you guys subscribe and leave a rating. And until my next episode, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for listening. Peace out, everybody.